Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Need a Miracle Sports and Gambling Podcast with your host Tracy
and Josh.
Miracle. Today we'll be covering Week 17, or recapping it, I should say, of the Week 17 slate in the NFL.
Yep, for all you guys out there, you guys that are already following us and subscribing on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Anchor, I'm sure you guys have seen so far on social media. We got the new merchandise out there, hats, we got hoodies, t-shirts that are the same thing, long sleeve, short sleeve, sweaters. Just to go over some of the prices, I know a lot of you guys have been hitting us up. We got quite a few orders already. Hoodies are $35 for anything up to a 2XL. Anything over 2XL, it's an additional $5. Sweaters the same price, $35. Anything over 2X is going to be extra $5 added on, just so you guys know. I know we don't even know a lot of people besides myself, so that shouldn't be an issue. T-shirts, $25. We got long sleeve tees, $30. We got snapback hats that we can make. We don't have any to show you right now, but them are $25. We got these baseball hats right here. These are $20. So if any of you guys are interested, I know a lot of people have already got a hold of Tracy. A couple people got a hold of myself. So make sure you get a hold of us. We're hoping to do a big order, or a decent order. Hopefully this weekend we can get it all in. We accepted money on Cash App or Venmo. So reach out to us or reach out to the page and we'll get back to you. Just want to make you guys aware also, we can't thank enough to our sponsors and the people that support us. Tiny Cactus for making the gear, and a special shout out to Auto Wash Car Wash out of Canandaigua, showing some love from the 585. You guys are out in that area, make sure you stop by, get your car cleaned up, get it fresh and clean for your ride. And thanks a lot, Greg, for the sponsor there. Now let's hop right into it here.
Real quick, I just want to follow up on what he said just real quick before we get into it. Yeah, we really do appreciate it. Especially with the shit going on with Corona and people, out of work and different stuff affecting things. It's just awesome to support, because, $35 for the hoodies, $35, and all the other stuff you guys have bought so far, which we are doing pretty well with, and it's just awesome to see. So I wanted to say thank you, from the bottom of my heart. It's awesome. And we're just, we're going to use that. We're going to put it right back in the podcast to make it better and better.
All right. Now on the week, you went 9-6-1, right?
Yeah.
I went 6-9-1, gave him another 3 games. That's going to put me at 114, 134, and 8. It's going to put Tracy at 120, 128, and 8. So, as you can see against the spread, we're not picking winner or loser. Every week we're picking who's covering the spread, who's not covering the spread. We're doing pretty well. We're not quite at, where we'd like to be, 500 or above. We're a little below for our first year, full-time, every game. We're not just picking 6 games or 4 games or giving you what we think is the best. We're picking every game and basing our overall off every single game every week. I mean, this year's been crazy with COVID, limited practices, facilities shutting down, stuff like that. So, I'm pretty happy with where we're at right now coming into the playoffs. And we're going to keep going through the playoffs with the picks every week. Let's start it.
And just real quick, I think this is going to be, honestly, I'll tell you guys, this is a pretty short podcast. Just because, a lot of these games didn't mean stuff. Some of them meant a ton to teams, but I think it's just going to be a pretty quick recap. So my question to you, one, what was the toughest thing about betting as the season's obviously down the regular season that you kind of learned from, and what was your best strategy that worked, I guess, if that makes sense? Just on the show and in your actual bets that you like.
I feel like the best strategy for me was once I got away from the 14 parlays, trying to take a little bet and turn it into something big and chasing it. I feel like once I started narrowing it down to 1-2 games really and focusing on that, I was doing a lot better. For me, for my picks every week for you guys, I do a lot of my stuff. For you guys that don't know me, I've coached football, obviously not at a high level, but I've coached at the high school level, the Pee-wees, and I came up from the Pee-wees all the way from the bottom to the high school. I tried to base it on a lot of knowledge and look at some of the schemes, from the week before, what they were sitting in, what they were doing, what other teams did. And I tried to base all of it off my own knowledge and not go so much on the numbers. He's more of a numbers guy. He looks at road games, home games, what they're doing against, the spread, what they're doing against that. I don't do that. I go off what's in here, and I just have fun with it. And that's, I think, what you guys are seeing too, is the numbers prevailed a little bit, but you saw in the beginning I was right there with them, with a full year, maybe no COVID, stuff like that, people not getting sat out the last minute, who knows where we're at. I feel like we're both probably be over 500 and be a much tighter, I feel like it'd be a one-game race, to be honest. But it was good, though, throughout the show. I feel like people got to see the difference, you know what I mean, when you just go off your own knowledge and when you're going off of numbers and systems and stuff like that.
Yeah, for me, I was really hot early on my actual, you know what I mean, the bets that you like, the parlays, blah, blah, blah. I was, kind of killing it, to be honest. I was doing really well, almost making a pretty good amount of money, weekly, if not every other week. And then I kind of just fell apart because I feel like, and it's betting, obviously you're not always going to win, but when that hot streak comes, it's just you keep going back to the well, and then the well's not there, and then boom, the well's dry, and then you're like shit, and then, you know what I mean, you keep losing. But the strategy that actually worked best for me that I figured out was over and under bets for a team, because, I mean, that's Vegas's prediction for the score. And I mean, I've seen this year more than ever, doing this show and really eking out pretty much almost every game and paying attention to them and paying attention to what they said the score was going to be and what it is. They're right probably 70 to 80% of the time, if not more, almost dead on. And just the over-under bet is pretty easy because if you think, you got a hot offense against, a bad defense and it's 27.5 and you think they're going to get to that 31 mark, it's pretty simple. It's just a simple bet to make. And a couple of times I hit at halftime early in the third quarter. I just had a lot of success with that, so that's one thing that I kind of learned that I'm going to go back to next year.
I think too, with people that have been with us all season, I think it's great that we're getting a jump on it now and getting this podcast off the road now during football season, especially with the type of year it's been. But to give you guys the heads up, and I don't know how many of you guys listen to the radio or what you guys listen to. Gambling when it's becoming legal in more and more states, it's really starting to sweep the nation. It was already huge. I mean, look at Vegas alone; it was already huge. But I think you're starting to see it a lot more now, especially with it becoming legal. And it really stems from what I was listening to. I was listening to a thing, and you're going to start seeing kids even, not young, but I mean, not 30 and plus. You're going to start seeing 18, 19-year-old kids more into betting and gambling on the aspect based off of fantasy football. I mean, fantasy football is so big, and a lot of people say that that's the gateway drug of gambling almost. And I mean, you see Nickelodeon now, they're putting stuff out for kids to do fantasy football right through them and their site, stuff like that. And I mean, this is just something I'm very happy that we jumped on early, and I hope everyone with us is, going to ride the wave with us, because we don't want to find you guys sunk at the bottom when everything comes out.
I mean,
What
guys,
do you got,
this is,
Jake?
oh, go ahead.
John Miracle commented, "You got a pretty mile there, guys. LMFAO, hi, guys."
How's it going, buddy?
John, how you doing? But we're just hitting the surface of the sports betting scene. Even
I mean, I got a lot to learn. I'm learning more and more, especially now with basketball season.
Yeah, I just, like I said, I'm just talking about the overall popularity, like you commented on. I learned a lot even about just this year about how popular it is. I think week 15 or week 16, I went to the casino at Seneca Niagara, and I got there at 12:30, and I've never seen a line there, really, ever. Maybe 6, 7 people at most. And I got there, like I said, 12:45, 12:30, somewhere in that time frame, and I thought that'd be good. There's a line of 150 people, no lie. And I mean, that's just people driving 20, 30, 5 minutes, whatever it is. When that shit gets on the phone, and you can go in, log on to FanDuel, obviously you got your bookies, and they have their role in this, and they always will. And as they should, I mean, that's kind of the identity of it. But, I mean, when FanDuel and those guys come in and New York allows it, it's just going to be crazy because, I mean, you could put $500 in your account. You don't have to worry about, losing it or paying someone else. It's just right in there, and until it hits zero, you can do whatever you want with it. So I think it's just going to, this is one of the reasons I had the idea to actually start the show, just because I knew it's just going to get bigger and bigger, and hopefully we can get bigger and bigger right with it. We're going to do everything in our power to do that, so.
Right. I'm just going to go over it real quick. You want to just touch base?
I mean, we'll just do the show like we normally do. I mean, just some of these games are just, you know what I mean?
Some
sweep under the rug.
Yeah, something for you guys at home too. For the average, I guess better. I want to talk about too NBA season with Tyler Hillman. He mentioned it last week. So much of the back-to-back games. There's only one team in the NBA this season so far. Obviously, you know, it hasn't really been a long season. It's just getting going. There's only one team that has won back-to-back home games. So for you guys that bet at home and bet on NBA games, keep that in mind. There's only one team that has won back-to-back home games.
And who's that?
You know, I really don't know.
I'd say maybe Phoenix, but I don't know if that's it because they're 4-1.
Maybe Orlando because they haven't lost.
I think it's Orlando.
Okay.
Is what I think it is, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, just, you know, every tad bit of information we pick up, we try to remember. I mean, we both have jobs when we're driving, so when we hear stuff, you know, on the radio or when we're looking up stuff, we try to remember it and get it out to you guys because we want you guys to have as much knowledge to, you know, make as much money as possible. We want everyone to prosper together here.
Yeah, there's no reason to ever like the books. Like we're never gonna. I will never. I promise you. If I give out a pick and I like it, I will never go against that pick in any way, like with my own self or anything like that. So the book makes enough money. We don't need to help them out anymore.
And just so you guys know too, when we're putting this stuff out, you know, and we did our show on Thursdays, so some of the lines were different. One thing I realized, if you like a line, I don't care if it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, try to lock that in. If you don't, I mean, this season obviously was crazy because of COVID. You didn't know who was going to be in, who was going to be out. But if you like that line, try to lock it in when you see it, because chances are that line moves by game time when you go to place that bet.
The only thing that was, I mean, obviously sucked for that, but I mean, they got injury lists. And all
Well, that's
that.
what I'm talking about the Washington line, particularly from this weekend. I mean, it was at 3.5 when we did the show. I loved it at 3.5. It hits. They covered, and then you know Sunday it's at 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just something to keep in mind. I'll just go over these games real quick and what the score was.
We'll just do it normal. That's
Okay.
fine. I mean,
Because I was gonna say there's some games I want to talk more about in depth, so that's why I was just wondering how you want to do
No,
it.
we're fine. Just
All right, we'll hop into it. 1 o'clock window. Dallas versus the Giants. Giants were +2 here. They win 23-19. Me and Trace both get this one, and I'm very happy that the Giants won, so their fans had something more to cry about this week. Yes, Peter, I'm talking about you. Next game here we got is Pittsburgh. You got anything to add to that one?
Yeah, pretty close game, kind of back and forth. Dalton goes 29-47, 243 yards, just a pick. And one thing I want to point out is, how in the world does Andy Dalton, if you're the Cowboys offensive coordinator, which I believe is Kellen Moore, how in the world does Andy Dalton outrun yardage-wise Ezekiel Elliott? I mean,
Well-
that just can't happen.
Well, in my opinion, Zeke's not going to be there next year. I don't think Kellen Moore is going to be there next year. I'm hearing talk he might go to Boise State for that job. It is open, right? I believe that's what I heard, Boise State job.
Yeah, Hurtsel went to
Yeah.
Auburn.
Yep. So there's that. I don't know what they do at quarterback in the offseason. Dak, you know, who knows if he signs.
I think he'll be there, guy.
You think he's going to be...
Well, I just think Jerry
I think
Jones
they-
has a hard on him for him.
The only thing is, though, how do you pay the guy even when he was healthy this year? Yeah, you were coming back, but you were still down 40 points to start the
I
game.
mean, he puts MVP numbers up, and I just think that Jerry Jones likes him. But another thing in this game, real quick, McCarthy doesn't challenge a catch, which
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up. That was not a catch.
Cowboys fans were just livid about. And the Giants rushed down the field goal, and then like the field goal kicker just kind of chilled out because he knew he wasn't going to kick it, or he wasn't going to challenge the play. So they get pretty much 3 points there. And good for Jason Garrett in this game to knock out the Cowboys, even though it didn't end up mattering for them because the Eagles. We'll get into that later. But good for Jerry Jones or Jason Garrett. I don't know what did I say, Jason Jones?
Yeah, you said Jerry Jones.
Oh, Jason Jones.
Jason Garrett interviewing for that coaching job in LA, too.
Yeah.
On to the next game here, I believe this was probably one of the bigger games of the week. I mean, with Buffalo winning, it didn't really change anything, but it was a win and get in. Pittsburgh versus Cleveland. Cleveland was -9. Me and Tracy both took a loss here. Cleveland does win this game, though, 24-22. Nick Chubb, I mean, the dude's just an X factor. I mean, as simple as that. He's a beast. He made the whole defense look silly on that big run he had. Minka Fitzpatrick had no answer for him, And I really like Chubb. He's the heart and soul of this team. They're still battling some COVID issues going into the weekend though. I think they just lost their coach. Stefanski,
yeah,
two other coaches, right? And
That's
then
how your
some
head
players
coach,
too.
I mean, a head coach in the NFL, everyone knows. I mean, there's guys that are great coordinators that go to be head coaches and they can't do it because you're running everything. You got
Look at Josh McDaniels and Patricia.
you got motherfuckers in your ear left and right. It's tough. So
I'll tell you what, from a coaching standpoint, and obviously, I haven't done it at a big level or anything like that. From the levels I've done it at, to be a successful head coach, you have to have good positional guys in play that can really just take some pressure off you and do what they got to do to get done to make a team better. And I feel like with Patricia and them, Patricia and McDaniels, they so much tried to put themselves strictly as the main thing in that offense. Like, you saw it with McDermott this year. He let Leslie Frazier call the plays until they were already sort of going into motion, and then he stepped back in, and you saw the defense become better. But that's because he didn't have as much to worry about to start the year. He was able to comb everything and look over it, and then apply himself where he was needed the most. You know what I mean? Where his strengths align. And I think, that's a lot of the issues is people don't know how to balance that, and that's why they don't end up being the greatest head coaches. You can have the best offensive mind in the world. If you can't balance a team, you're never going to be a good head coach.
Yeah, just a few things on this game real quick. Rudolph played well, 22 of 39, 315, 2 touchdowns. They have a pick. Claypool had a big day, 5 for 101 and a touchdown. And then, Nick Chubb, that's the offense. That's the
Bread and butter.
They're going to go as far as that offensive line and Chubb takes them. I'm sorry, just not relying on the arm of Baker, especially with the weather maybe that's going to be coming to the NFL, especially in the AFC. But Chubb goes 14 for 108 and a touchdown. And another cool moment in that game too, real quick, is Mason Rudolph and Myles Garrett actually kind of dapped each other up after the game and kind of put that in the past, which. When there was, race and all that involved, I thought that was a pretty cool moment.
On to the next game here. This should have been my lock of the week. It should have been everyone's lock of the week. You should have put all your money on it, hands down. The Jets came in this one sort of hot, though. Not hot, but for them, hot, I guess. Jets versus New England. New England was -3. New England wins this game 28-14 with the cover. We both had it. We both won on it. I took it in a parlay. Unfortunately, I also took the Miami Dolphins. They can fuck off and do whatever they need to do.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. But this game, it should have been no shock. Bill Belichick, it doesn't matter. It was a terrible Jets team. It wasn't like he was playing, a mediocre team or good team. He was playing the Jets. They are terrible. I don't know how they won their last 2
This
games.
game was competitive, though.
It was competitive until the late in the third, I want to say, right?
Yeah. For me, Cam Newton pretty much played his best game of the year, and I don't know, I guess it might have been his going away party because he just got to throw the ball a lot. He never really does that, but 21 of 30, 242, 3 touchdowns, 11 rushes for 79 yards, so he had a big day. Sam Darnold, again, kind of struggled a little bit, 23 for 34, 266. 1 touchdown and 2 picks, but I think that's just the Bill Belichick. He just draws him up well. What is this, the 6th time he's played Belichick? If he's been healthy 6 times, it might be 5 or 4 because of injury, but that was his first touchdown in game number 5 or 6 or whatever it was against the Patriots, so pretty crazy stat there.
Yep. On to this next game here. This game sort of surprised me a little bit. Minnesota versus Detroit. Detroit was +4. They obviously get the cover. Me and Tracy both take the loss here.
Took this in a parlay and lost it.
I don't really know what to say about this. Detroit was just playing.
Detroit played well. Stafford, I look up there it is right here. Stafford goes 20 for 31, 293, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Marvin Jones kind of came back from the dead a little bit, 8 for 180, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, didn't Stafford or Jones have a career mile mark too in that game?
Probably Stafford. I'm not sure what it was.
500 touchdown or something like that.
I'm not too sure.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I know there was something.
The Vikings did end up winning the game, so credit to them, 37-35. They fought hard the whole game. Mattinson had a big day, 21-95 touchdown. Jefferson with a huge day, 9 for 133. That's a bit of an interesting race for Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, I think
Because Herbert won 4 straight at the end of the year, played pretty well.
Yeah, but I think Jefferson has it locked up. I mean, Herbert was very
Especially-
inconsistent. They couldn't win games.
Yeah.
He would have huge late leads and not put them away late.
Maybe we need to get a new, instead of prime time Kirk, we could start calling him garbage time Kirk, because he comes out 28 of 40, 405, and 3 touchdowns, so he plays pretty much perfect. And
I mean,
they needed that, because like I said, Detroit was moving the ball, and they were definitely putting a scare into the Vikings, not that the game mattered. But
well, dude, Minnesota's been doing this shit all year. Second half. It's like Kirk, Thielen, and Jefferson are like, oh, we should probably start playing now. Oh shit. I don't know if these motherfuckers in the locker room are sipping a bottle of Douce or Hennessy or whatever it is they're drinking before the game, or smoking on, or popping perks. I don't know what they're doing, but seems like halftime they're like, oh shit, we're at a football game. Let's start playing now. I don't get it. I mean,
yeah, not that it has to do with this, but maybe a little bit. They've been relying on that defense for years and years, and that defense.
yeah, the
just
defense
isn't
ain't
the
there,
same.
and I mean, once they start taking Cook out of games, you got to be able to throw the ball, and I mean, they do throw the ball well, just they don't in the first half.
Yeah.
On to the next game here, Atlanta versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay was -6.5. We both took it. We both got our asses smacked on this one. Tampa Bay wins 44-27. I don't understand, and
I don't know why Brady played the whole game.
why did Mike Evans play and get hurt? They had nothing to play for.
I know, that's why I thought, you know what I mean? I figured maybe, Atlanta backdoor cover, like
Yeah.
something like that, like Brady plays a little bit, they take a lead, and then they just coast, and Ryan gets to make some plays to Ridley, but it just didn't happen. And again, you know what? I mean, even with the fucking Brady-led team and they played their guys, fucking the Falcons do what they do. They're close, and then it's 44-27. They're just, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I mean, if you're a Falcons fan, you just have to be frustrated. It has to be frustrated.
I think we're going to see that team sort of get split up here in the next year. I believe Julio's on the way out, probably a trade or something.
Ryan.
Matt Ryan, I imagine this has to be probably, not this year, but next year we'll probably see him entering the last years of, at least as a Falcon. I believe, he still got a big price tag on that contract, but I think after next year there's a little bit of leeway for them to option out or whatever, maybe move him.
I don't know.
They have no defense, so it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Deion Jones is their only defensive player, and I mean, they drafted a corner, and they got Keanu Neal as a safety, but other than that, and I mean, Grady Jarrett up front, they really don't have any pieces that
I
are
remember.
there.
I remember one time, this is random, but like I was, I don't know, probably 14, 15 on a hockey team or whatever, and I just remember specifically, we went we lost like 5 or 6 straight games, and we just
Dude, you
couldn't
lost.
win.
You lost like
There we go.
5 or 6 games every week.
Yeah, keep talking. Anyway, but seriously, and it was just like, no matter what you did or how it was going, like in the first period or the second period, you just knew that third period, like you felt something was going to go wrong. You know what I mean? And I think that's just how the Falcons have been playing down the stretch and in this whole season. It's just like, they know the plays are being called and they can do this and that. It just got to be a mental thing, because they just look so good, and then a fumble here and they just fall apart. I mean, the Cowboys game, this game, the Tampa game before, they got the 24-3 lead or whatever it was.
You want to know what your problem was in the third?
Oh, here we go.
You were so tired you would just skate around the blue line and hope that Ricky would bring the puck down fast enough to hit you with a pass and you could give it back to him so he could score.
I wasn't even talking about high school, but thank you for bringing up those horrors.
In general, I mean, any hockey you played, it was, oh, Ricky, I need you. You're my clutch, buddy.
I didn't even play with Ricky in high school, to be honest, but that's a good one.
Next game here, this was another one. I mean, the line was huge. Me and you both were on the right side of this one. Baltimore versus Cincinnati. Baltimore wins 38-3. There was no competition in this game. Cincinnati had nothing to play for. Baltimore had everything in the world to play for, and they get the job done. Jake, is there something going on back there?
No.
All right, stop smiling at me like that.
J.K. Dobbins, huge game, 13 for 160, 2 touchdowns. Lamar did what he had to do, 10 of 18, 113 passing, 11 for 97 rushing, which is kind of weird because that's exactly what Cam Newton had in his game. But, I mean, just, you want to talk about an app, listen to this stat line. Brandon Allen, not Josh Allen, not related, nothing even close to Josh Allen. Don't ever put them in the same category, because 6 for 21, 48 yards, no touchdowns and 2 picks. He was miserable. And this was just an injury and COVID plague team like we talked about. I mean, this would have been, no pun intended, but pun intended, a miracle if they would have won this game. And the Ravens look good and they're hot and ready to go roll into the playoffs.
Oh, he's not a good producer back there at all.
Nope.
What do you mean? No one's being interesting in the comments.
Not a good producer.
You're also itching your leg and being distracted.
I'm not itching my leg.
Last game of the 1 o'clock window. This is the game that really bit me in the ass here on my parlay. Miami versus Buffalo. Buffalo was -2. We both took Miami thinking they had something to play for here. And I believe the only thing they did was Tua Tagovailoa probably played himself out of the NFL. Well, not out of the NFL, but I mean, he was awful.
58 throws, 361, 1 touchdown against the Bills backups, by the way, 3 picks. Parker had a good day. I mean, he's a talented wide receiver. He usually does. 7 for 116. Allen plays a half, 18 to 25, 224, 3 touchdowns. Barkley came in and played well, but I mean, you know, this is my team, and I'll let you have your moment in the sun with Washington. I just want to, I thought we were going to do it at the end of the show, but I mean, we kind of went out with some stuff at the beginning, so I'll do it now. First of all, Antonio Williams, awesome story.
The running back is a beast.
Awesome story. He was actually going to retire before the season started. He was going to take a job at the assistant running back coach at the school he went to in North Carolina. The Bills had cut him. He thought it was done. For some reason, something happened. Not sure what it was. They signed him back to the practice squad, and then he goes out and does that. I mean, when you do stuff like that, you're definitely, at least next year, he's going to be at least on a roster somewhere, maybe even practice squad, but maybe with the Bills still, who knows. But I mean, he put on a show. And the other thing is just, what was that from Miami? I mean, we all know the Bills are good and they're hot, but that was just a disgusting display. It was, you got backup NFL players, some of them with no game experience ever. And I get it, you're getting beat, but like, I mean, that was a 20-point game at half. Like, you could have came back against the backups probably, but there was just no effort.
Yeah, they didn't have Fitz to carry him, and the defense did not look good.
And you know what? This goes back, and this is why I took the Raiders the week before in that big game when Tua had to travel.
Saturday night.
Yeah, to LA. I just, what do you got with him? You don't know. I mean, has there really been a good performance?
I mean, everyone's gonna say it's the receivers. He doesn't have the receivers. I mean, Devontae Parker against Josh Norman should be a favorable matchup. I really like Bowden there. Obviously, he's not a big name guy yet. I mean, Gesicki's probably a top 5, top 10 tight end in the league. I really like him, but I don't want to put him in the top 5. I mean, with some of the tight ends we got in this league. For me, I want to tell Miami fans, and I'm looking at all you Miami fans, shut the fuck up.
Oh,
Dude,
5 weeks ago they were winning the division.
if I gotta hear about how a 7-9 team got in, or sorry, 7-9, I said it right. How a 7-9 team got in, and you guys couldn't get in at 10-6. You had one job to win, and you could have got in. The playoffs barely changed. They added a team, and you guys act like, oh, they need to completely restructure. No, shut the fuck up. This is how football works. You guys needed to win, and you didn't. And then you guys want to bitch about, oh, how would the Giants have got in? The Giants should have got in. They didn't. It's football. It happens. You know? So shut the fuck up. Go back to whatever the fuck you're doing. And mind your business until next season when you show up to annoy everyone.
Yeah, and then the last thing, I'll try to make it as quick as I can, get a little fired up here. For Buffalo, it's time. It's just time. I don't know what else to say. I hear it all the time from friends, and you talked about fans of other teams. It's not gonna happen in the playoffs. They'll do something stupid. Josh will, pitch the ball. Josh will play bad. Listen, motherfuckers. This is a badass fucking group of people coming at your asses. I'm telling you. They got fucking the hottest quarterback, maybe the best player in the NFL right now as their quarterback. They got probably, arguably, one of the best receivers right now. Their defense fucking miraculously out of nowhere halfway through the season started playing well. They've won 6 straight games. They haven't even been competed with, which is nerve-wracking, obviously going to the playoffs, but also, I mean, they played that well, so there's that. And it's just time, and hopefully those people are wrong. But, I mean, I'm looking at the Bills, and it's time. Like, Josh Allen has been talking about for months and months and months now as the season's gone on, how bad that Houston loss hurt. I know it fucking hurt me. I was fucking hammered. I was throwing shit. I was fucking so pissed. I wanted to cry, but that's not even.
You did cry.
That's not even close to the feeling I would feel if this team lost. Because this team's just different. And I know all you guys Bills fans watching know what I'm talking about. It's just a different feel. Like, we could literally, you know, the joke, the since I've been alive, the no playoffs, the 8-8 team, the 7-9 team, the 6-10 team, who were never bad enough to get the top pick, but were never good enough to make the playoffs. The team that got destroyed by Tom Brady year after year after year after year. Well, maybe fucking Josh Allen's Tom Brady. Maybe he goes out and honestly, the only thing that I think could stop the Bills if Josh Allen's on his game is Patrick Mahomes. And guess what? Go roll the fucking ball, and we're gonna see who gets more points in the AFC Championship. And I think that's what's gonna happen. I really do. I really do, and I'm not lying. I can't fucking wait.
I'm completely okay with that. I hope you end up there. I hope Alex Smith gets to end your season, and that's the tears I get to see you two cry. That's what I really hope.
I don't know if that's gonna happen.
That will not happen, but hey, you know, when any given Saturday, right? That's what I'm all with this week.
The only thing that's dampered them is the Beasley injury, which is scary. But you get past the Colts.
I mean, they just brought Kenny Stills in. Kenny Stills is a very good receiver. I think they're top 4 receivers, probably the top 4 in the NFL. Besides, if you want to throw Tampa Bay in there, obviously.
And I just think fun-wise, man, like. Even if I wasn't a Bills fan, if you guys aren't Bills fans, whatever, you hate on them, because...
Oh, while we're on the topic of Bills, are we doing a watch party on Saturday?
Yeah.
So make sure you guys tune in if you guys want to do that. We're going to be throwing a watch party. Just
it's
watch.
It's going to be you watching us. I mean, obviously,
watching
you're paying
him.
attention to the game, but I'll be fucking nervous. You'll probably see me pace back and forth 100 times. I get real weird during games.
He does this thing where he goes on one knee on the carpet and starts, like, patting the floor.
But,
like,
what was I saying? Oh, I just think, like, not even as a Bills fan, like, the Mahomes and Allen matchup would just be so good for football, like, especially if it's decent weather, like it wasn't last time. It was kind of snowing and howling, but we'll move on. But that's all I wanted to say.
On to the 4 o'clock window here. Speaking of the Bills, the first game we got here is Jacksonville versus the Colts. This was a push for us. Tracy took Jacksonville. I took the Colts.
Fucking 2-point conversion for no fucking reason.
Score was 28-14. The Colts. Like I said, we get a push here. This team is a very good team. I mean, defensively, they're sound. Offensively, people can say what they want about Rivers. He's still delivering the ball. It might not be at a high rate, but I mean, he's another guy. I feel like he doesn't have the greatest weapons around him, but with what he has, he's playing pretty well. Jonathan Taylor and that offensive line are dominating right now.
Yeah, their offensive line scares the shit out of me, especially with small Ed Oliver in there.
Actually, while we're talking about that too, I took a prop bet on Sunday. Jonathan Taylor over 88.5. He hit it in almost the first quarter, I believe.
What did he have? 30 for 2,
Yeah,
32.
he had 121 before halftime. Some of these player bets you guys really might want to start taking looks at if you guys don't already. They're great, especially if you know your shit, or you know what I mean. Like you just have a player you think can win a favorable matchup. Them bets are great. Like I said, I had them at over 88.5. I knew Jacksonville has no type of run defense to be seen. I knew they were going to get up and just pound the ball, so I wasn't worried about it when I saw he had already hit it in the first half. I was actually shocked, to be honest. But there's no better feeling than that. And you won on a couple player prop bets this year too, or at least I know you talked to me about them and they hit.
A couple, yeah. Brady over or under passing yards, Bridgewater.
Yeah.
But this game was interesting because it shouldn't have been close. It really shouldn't have been, and it was. Mike Glennon though fought hard, 26-42, 261, 2 touchdowns. Basically a one-score game throughout the game till pretty much the end. Rivers 17-27. And it seemed 164. And it seems like when he turns the ball over, they just struggle. It seems like their offense is kind of mediocre. And if they do get that turnover, it really hurts them.
I mean, that's a no-brainer. You're turning the ball over.
No, I'm just saying. It just seems like every time. What I'm saying is throughout these recaps and all this, like when I see the Colts game and I watch it back and I see the box score, basically, it just seems like every time that Phillip Rivers turns the ball over, does anything bad with the ball, it's just hurting them a ton. Like it's at a bad time, in a bad area.
He's the focal point of that team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like I said, we're going to talk about it. Great fight. from Jacksonville. Obviously, there's nothing to play for. The coach got fired, blah, blah, blah. But, I mean, 53 dudes had to show up and earn a paycheck, and they did that. And I thought overall it was pretty much a C or a C- game from the Colts. I think you got to blow that team out. And
Well, I mean,
get some guys
Jonathan
out.
Taylor was an A+ in the offense.
Oh, yeah,
line. I mean,
absolutely, absolutely.
They got the best offense lineman in the league in Quentin Nelson.
Yep, I know. Trust me, I've heard all about it this week.
I really don't know what your defense line is going to. We'll save that for Thursday. We'll get into that on Thursday. Next game here, Green Bay versus Chicago. Trace took Green Bay. He obviously gets the win. I took Chicago +4.
Talked a lot of shit about it.
Green Bay wins 35-16. For me, it just didn't make sense. Like, I don't know. I guess it made sense now looking at it because New Orleans did win. It didn't make sense. When I took the bet, I was thinking they're going to pull Rodgers. You know what I mean? That never happened. And that was another weird thing, too, I feel like, this year. Like, you didn't see as many big names sit as you normally do in Week 17 at all.
Well, there's a lot of scenarios.
Yeah, I mean, with the new playoff format, I really believe that's what did it. And you saw, a lot of these teams having something to still play for. And kudos to Rodgers. Devontae Adams is probably the best receiver in football right now. The most sure-handed receiver. That defense is playing good. Not great. I feel like they still are getting chewed up on the ground, which I think could hurt them in the playoffs. Who knows? But Chicago, I just really thought would have more fight. I mean, they're still in the playoffs. They're going to play New Orleans. It's probably going to be a bloodbath. I just really thought they would have more fight. You know what I mean? Especially when their season hasn't been going. What were we talking about? At one point in time, they were 5-2. The next thing you know, they were 5-7.
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know. I don't like the Chicago.
They started out like 4-0 or something. 5-0, 4-0.
5-2.
Yeah.
And then next thing I know.
Yeah. They started off. I'm just saying they started out undefeated instead of season 2 for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I mean,
It just don't make sense. And Mr. Trubisky, though, he's back. He's playing decent football right now. He's a guy who knows. Maybe he resurrected his career a little bit. At least gets another shot. And that's a team I think that needs a head coach as well.
yeah. Well, just real quick for my part, this guy that Rodgers guy that I tried to tell you about when we were making the predictions. He's a pretty good player. 19 to 24, 240, 4 touchdowns. Just the GOAT. I mean, I think he's probably, if Brady didn't win, although I think he's more talented than Brady and
I think he
quarterback, but Brady won more.
I think he can do more than Brady can do.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he's better. I mean, Tom Brady makes passes that people wish they could make from the pocket, and his timing is unreal. And his release is so quick that he doesn't really get hit that much. I mean, it's comparing two completely almost different quarterbacks. You see Rodgers make some of his best plays when he's on the move. You're not going to see that from Brady.
Yeah, I think if, which could definitely happen, if Rodgers gets a ring this year, then I just think it could be more of an argument, is basically what I'm trying to say.
I still think it's Manning and Brady, and then Aaron falls in there somewhere after that.
Yeah. And Montgomery ran the ball okay. The superstar I put here in parentheses that he is 22 at 69. He had a great day. Not.
He's top 5 in the NFL right now for rushers.
Just the Packers are too high powered and they pulled away late. And the Bears offense just kind of went backwards and got in their old habits and sputtered.
Yep. On to the next game here. You want to talk about a game that was closer than it should have been. Tennessee versus Houston. Houston was +7. We both took Tennessee. Obviously, they had something to play for. Houston had nothing to play for. Tennessee wins this one late, 41-38.
Very late.
Yeah, and just another game. Like, what are you doing? Why is it so close? But hats off to Derrick Henry. 2,000 yards on the ground, I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, he needed 250 about. He got exactly that.
Yeah, man.
34 for 250.
I mean, probably the quietest 2K you ever seen. He wasn't talked about like crazy. He just goes out there and every week, he's 125.
But when he has games though too,
Yeah.
fucking games.
Yeah.
It seems like when he has big days, he just never gets less than 250. But Tannehill was kind of shaky. 18 to 27, 216, a touchdown. Watson, he brought his A game. 28 or 39, 365, 3 touchdowns. Cook went off 11 or 166, 2 touchdowns. And as I was sitting there, actually it was probably Saturday about. Thinking about the bets we made and everything, I was kind of pissed, honestly. And I know it's just like, oh, you're just saying that, but I was kind of pissed I didn't take the Texans just because of the J.J. Watt speech. I got a little nervous, and I was like, fuck, and then obviously it goes on happens. But this game changed. It was a 10-point game. They were battling back and forth, but the Titans had it in control. And what happened, fucking Derrick Henry was carrying the ball, pretty much going for probably a 25, 30, maybe even a touchdown run. But he's carrying the ball like a loaf of bread out front, and this dude was getting blocked. Like, block me? Real quick, just block me. And Derrick Henry was behind him. He spun out like this, had a free hand like this, open palm, and fucking knocked the ball out. Luckily as hell, they go down, they score. I took this in a parlay actually, even though it said the Texans thing. I really liked the Titans in that game. It just made sense to me, and I was nervous about it. But you know, knocks the ball out, they go score, boom, go score again, and then boom, they're up. And my bet was just my -7.5, I believe, was just dead. Crazy.
Yep. On to the next game here. New Orleans versus Carolina. Carolina was +6. Me and Tracy both took them. Both fell on the wrong side of this one. New Orleans still had something to play for. They win this game 33-7. No Michael Thomas. They're still getting the job done. Kamara didn't play. Kamara is going to be back for the playoff game. Shockingly, it's on Sunday, which is when he's scheduled to return. You figured that one out.
I thought the NFL might fuck him though, because the NFL hates him. The 2 pass interference calls the last couple of years.
Yeah, the
and all this
cleats.
and that.
You got fined for them cleats too on Christmas.
Yeah.
There's not. I mean, I don't really have much to say about this game.
This is why this shit's hard, dude. Like, Carolina just didn't show up. They didn't. Samuel had a nice day, 7 for 118. Walker and Bridgewater barely even hit over 100 yards combined passing. It was just rough. Breeze, 22 and 33, 201, 3 touchdowns. I think he was kind of locked in for the playoffs, ready to go.
Yeah.
And Montgomery, the other.
Well, resting him probably helped. I mean, he wasn't resting. He obviously was banged up, but I feel like having that bit to
Well, that's
rest.
what they say the last couple of years. That he gets hurt before the playoffs. They say it's a good thing. And then Ty Montgomery, the one that used to be in Green Bay, big day, 18 for 105.
Yep.
But I mean, other than that, the Saints defense is just really good, and I don't think the Panthers really showed up.
Next game we got here, we both took the Chargers -4.5 against Kansas City. We both get a win here, 38-21. Herbert, took care of business. This Chargers team, even though they had nothing to play for, Kansas City obviously sat everyone. Anthony Lynn, see you later. Maybe that was his parting gift from Herbert or whatever. But I mean, there's nothing really much to say about this game. It was backups against a starting unit. Starting unit comes out and prevails.
Yeah, Henny actually, performed decent, 23-32, 218, 2 touchdowns. Just a meaningless game, as you said. Herbert makes his case for Rookie of the Year, as I said earlier. Jefferson did as well. 4 straight wins to end the year. And 22-31 for 302, 3 touchdowns, solid game. And Mike Williams, another guy who's been injured often. But I'd take him on my team, tall receiver who could run, 6 for 108, 1 touchdown.
On to the next game, Seattle versus the 49ers. 49ers are +6.5. I took a loss here. Tracy gets a win here. Seattle wins outright though, 26-23. Obviously not covering. But, I mean, it was a good game. It went right to the end.
We were watching it, too.
Yeah, we were watching it. Seattle scores and then leaves just enough time. And then the 49ers come right down the field.
Score with 4 seconds.
Yeah, score with a couple seconds left on the clock. And there's the cover for you.
But, I mean, what I thought was going to happen, not to be an asshole, it really did. Like, I thought this Niners defense is tough. They've been stingy all year. And that's what's kind of happened. They gave Russ fits in the first half, and then the game kind of opened up a little bit. But Russ's stat line, 20 for 36, 181, and 2 touchdowns. So he definitely didn't light it up. Lockett, big day. He broke some kind of Seattle record. I'm not exactly sure what it was, unfortunately. And Metcalf actually broke one, too, for a season. I think Lockett's was more career-based. But 12 for 90, 2 touchdowns. Bedford, he is what he is. 25, 37, 273, and a touchdown. And like I said, the Niners hung tough. And I just think this game's scary for Seattle fans. Like, you get that random.
Every game's been scary for them the whole year. They've been up and down. They're a roller coaster.
And then Jamal Adams is actually out too, which I didn't know. A buddy at work's a Seahawks fan. He told me that, so he's out for the playoff game, which sucks for them.
They're a roller coaster. I don't know what you're gonna expect from them. Next game here, Las Vegas versus Denver. Denver was getting 2.5. Thank the Lord they were. Me and Tracy both took them. They do lose. Vegas ends up winning, but it's 32-31. Obviously, the 2.5 we cover.
Gruden again, doing it again. Fucking star of the show. Goes for 2 at the end of the game. They don't get it, they lose. He's a fucking joke.
Yep, that's how that one played out. On to the next.
Wait.
You got more?
We gotta do it, brother.
What?
I gotta do it to you.
What?
You gotta give me a straight answer. I mean, I've admitted I've been wrong on this show.
Here we go.
I mean, can we get a I was wrong on Drew Lock, or are you still gonna hold on that he needs blocking?
He's not that bad. He's without his number 1 receiver.
Jerry Jeudy went off in this game.
He's still without Cortland Sutton.
Okay, well, let's see. I gotta go to it. Hold on. How come when I need to fucking find something, these fucking stupid notes I never can? Okay. Here we go. The Drew Lock experience. Where is he? That's certainly not him. I have his stats there right now.
We'll wait 10 minutes.
No, I don't have his stats.
I mean, you just told me Jerry Jeudy went off, so clearly he had a decent day.
No, he didn't, because other than that, he didn't play well. I don't know where it is, though.
You can come back to us next segment.
Oh, yeah, he had, 25 and 41, but he had 339 yards, but 25 and 41, he's never accurate. That's my thing. He's not accurate, and he turns the ball over.
Jacob,
That reminds me of someone.
can I ask you something? If you are on the run constantly, and you're trying to throw a football, is it going to be more or less accurate?
Most of the time, it's gonna be less accurate. I would have to say.
Okay, but you can scapegoat an excuse for someone and camouflage that, but I don't know what you want.
I mean, clearly his passes that he hit on were big plays. He had 339, you said?
Okay, how about this? How about we go this direction with Drew Lock? If you're the GM, you're running a team, you got a guy like Stafford you might be able to go out and get. You got draft picks you can maybe go out and get a guy. You're telling me Drew Lock is your starting quarterback next year, and you're going to try to sell your fan base on that?
Absolutely.
After what they
Yeah,
saw this year?
most likely.
He reminds me of rookie year Josh Allen a little bit. To be
Right,
honest.
exactly. That's exactly what I was
Yeah,
saying.
but
But you
it's
can't
not
tell
as-
him that.
It's not as rookie.
It might as well be his rookie year. He didn't play all last year. He was hurt, and he was hurt this year. The man's hurt 2 years in a row. What do you think that's from?
I mean,
It's coincidental that he gets hurt when he has no protection?
like I said, I know a lot more people that are not on your guys' side than are, but I mean,
That's fine. I don't need people to be on my side. I don't give a fuck.
You can keep fighting. The
Am I
fight.
sitting here saying he's the fucking next coming? No, I'm not. I'm just saying he's better than probably your average. He's better than the bottom, but he's not good right now. He's probably an average player that probably needs some weapons, or he has weapons, but he probably needs some protection around him.
I think he's 20th at worst.
Okay. I mean, who knows? I think he's better than any quarterback Philly's got right now. I would love to have him in Washington right now. I mean, look at Tannehill. Everyone thought Tannehill was trash.
Okay, so now we're gonna do the one player in the league who, had a career comeback, and now we're gonna do that.
No, I'm just saying. All right. Anyway, let's hop into this next game. Both of our locks of the week. I bit the bullet on this one. I can admit I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong for any
First
other
time you had
reason.
lock of the week, baby.
I'm not wrong for any other reason than Kyler Murray got hurt.
Yeah, I mean that was huge for me.
And that's where I'm leaving this game at. 7-18, Kyler Murray got hurt. Kyler Murray stays in this game. They probably win this game 21 times.
Oh, you didn't talk about the play of the game. At half, they're going down to score. Troy Hill takes like an 80-yard.
Who did he pick off?
Yeah, I'm just saying, it still happened.
I'm just saying, the game ended when Kyler Murray went out. There's nothing more to discuss.
I mean, we got to tell them about the game.
Go ahead.
And Troy Hill goes on a 89-yard scamper to the end zone, makes it 12-7, and they never relinquished the lead from there. Wolford played all right for the Rams, did what he needed to do.
Probably going to start the playoff game.
Yeah.
They're saying Goff can start, but if he takes a hit, he's most likely not going to hold up.
But one more real quick thing on that game. DeAndre Hopkins, he's had terrible quarterbacks, Osweiler, other guys, Savage, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And in this game, he's getting guarded by Ramsey, and you're supposed to be this big guy that's supposed to go out and make plays. He was 5 for 43. So I mean, that could be on him, it could be on Ramsey, however you want to take that. But he didn't really show up when they needed him most.
Yep.
talk a lot of shit after that Hail Mary play though. Have fun golfing.
On to the last game of the Sunday night. Obviously, Washington needed to win to get in. As a Washington fan, this is the only time I'm going to say this. I would have much rather beat Jalen Hurts just so I don't have to hear it. The spread on this game when we had it was 3.5. Washington covered, 20-14 win. I would have much rather Jalen Hurts played the whole game. I mean, there was points he looked good, and I was definitely nervous on the edge of my seat. It was 17-14 going into the half. Philly had a lot of things going for him. Washington was playing well as well. Alex Smith just does not look healthy to me. I almost would have rather seen Heineke in that game, to be 100% honest. You watch him throw, he can't really play off the back foot. Yeah, he's very good at short passing game, but I don't think that's going to be good enough to win in the playoffs. I'm just sick of the Giants fans crying. Like, it is what it is. Doug Peterson, the man said he needed to see what he had in his other quarterback. He already got guaranteed and told he's going to be there next year. I don't understand why he did what he did, but it's something he did. It's something we live with. It is what it is. Like I said, I would rather beat Jalen Hurts just so I don't have to hear anything. But like Chase Young said, bring on Tom Brady. And it is what it is, baby, because we're in the playoffs. And that's all that matters.
Yeah, listen, my take on the Sudfeld thing isn't all that well respected out there right now either. It doesn't seem, I mean, it wasn't, it's not tanking.
It's not like Hurts was out there eating either. I mean, he was playing okay, but
Obviously, he's the better option.
Yeah, 100%. But I'm also not, like, as a fan, I guess, it doesn't matter to me that game. Like, ooh, who cares if we knock Washington out? The Giants get in. Like, to me, that game doesn't really matter to that. And I sort of can see where Peterson's coming from. Like, he sort of wanted to see what he had.
Yeah, I think that's a pre-game decision. I think it's premeditated.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, Sudfeld is definitely going to be a folk hero in Washington for quite some time, especially if they go on a little run. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Tampa, obviously, and Washington did what they had to do. They didn't look very sharp. I wouldn't really like that game going into the playoffs, but they won, so they're there.
I mean, it is what it is. No one expects them to win in the playoffs. No one expects anyone in that division to win in the playoffs. So, good to be there. Our record, doesn't deserve. We probably don't deserve to be there over some teams, but it's not like the NFC had teams, that were 10-6 missing the playoffs.
No, I agree.
So, it is what it is. That's really all I got.
Wrap it up, right?
Yeah, I don't have anything much.
Yeah, guys, again, I don't know if any new people saw these hoodies, but you want them, just hit me or him up, whatever you gotta do. That's about it. This has been your...
Oh, we can get other colors too. Like, if you guys are interested in some other colors, just message us. We'll talk to you guys on a one-on-one basis and let you know what we can do, what we can't do, and go from there. Other than that, I don't really have anything. You got anything back there?
Nothing back here.
All good?
Yep.
It's been your favorite podcaster's favorite podcast. Have a good night.
Sit.